Hello, welcome to the third edition of our discussions on the current state of agitation for Biafra, the work of IPOB, the present tensions in the eastern part of Nigeria, all in connection with the activities of IPOB and ESN. My name is Emeka Ugwonye. I want us to continue from where we stopped. We spoke about this on two previous occasions. And at the end of it, I get flooded with questions, and some of the questions draw me back to the foundational issues that concern this fight, which is the quest for Biafra. Going back, I want to emphasize some things. It is wrong to assume that the majority of the Igbos want an actualization of Biafra. It is wrong to assume that if there were a referendum today, majority of the Igbos would want Biafra. In fact, I think that the majority of the Igbos would not want Biafra. Let's go back to the history of secession. During the constitutional conferences leading to the independence of Nigeria, the major nationalists, or the political leaders of that time, Nnamdi were representing the East, so to say, Awolowo representing the West, so to say, and Ahmad Bello representing the North. There was the question of secession, the rights of the respective ethnic nationalities to secede from the Nigerian nation, should they feel dissatisfied. Ahmad Bello for the North wanted to have that right. Awolowo for the West wanted to have that right. It was actually Nnamdi who argued very passionately and very brilliantly that it was in the interest of Nigeria for Nigeria to remain one country, united, an indivisible country. And in the end, Nnamdi Azikiwe's position prevailed. Nigeria became united, one country. And the right to secession was not made part of the constitution that ultimately emerged at independence. But having said this, I want to emphasize the right of all people in this world to seek alternative arrangement in their own interest. The right of a people to be able to feel that if they are marginalized or oppressed in any particular country, to consider secession as an option. That right generally exists. I know that that right has often been mischaracterized recently in the discussions and agitations of current agitation for Biafra, and people talk of the right to self-determination. It's very interesting to note that many of our young people do not understand precisely the meaning or the application of the right to self-determination. That right to self-determination is more or less is very relevant during colonial era. It is a language countries needed to get their independence from colonial authorities. However, after independence had been gotten, rights to self-determination has to be recalibrated. It does not mean that you have right to disintegrate any nation at any point in time. There are different considerations when Nigeria was trying to gain independence from Britain and when the Igbos are trying to break away from Nigeria. Nigeria is not a colonial government in which the Biafrans are a colony. That's not what it is, really. So when you talk of right to self-determination in the context of a country which is not under colonial authority, you have to be very careful that you don't confuse that with what was happening in the 50s and 40s all over the world about a movement of colonies to gain their independence from their respective colonial authorities or colonial masters. So, having dealt with that, the issue of secession was deliberately removed from the Nigerian constitutional process leading to independence. The first time any group sought secession in Nigeria was actually the Niger Delta in 1966. A very charismatic young student leader called Adakaboro felt that the Niger Delta people were marginalized in Nigeria as it then was, and decided to declare a republic of Niger Delta, trying to secede from Nigeria. Then Agi Urosi was the head of state, and Colonel Ojukwu was the governor of the Eastern region, and the Niger Delta was in Eastern region. Ojukwu, on the instructions of Urosi, moved against Adakaboro. He used military power to crush the attempted secession of Adakaboro. They got him arrested, they got him tried, they got him convicted and sentenced and locked up. Ojukwu's position was that he could not, that Adakaboro had no power under the constitution, under the Nigerian authority, Nigerian laws, to secede, and that secession was treason. That was it. Interestingly, about a year after that, Ojukwu was precisely in the same position or similar position as Adakaboro in his attempt to secede, to pull the entire eastern region out of Nigeria. Well, it was precisely, I'm saying this because some of our young people don't understand, it was precisely the same laws or the same reasoning that Ojukwu used to prevail against or to subdue Adakaboro that Gowon and Nigerian government tried to use to subdue Ojukwu and his Biafran secessionist movement. Well, Biafra has been a highly emotional thing. It was so for so many reasons, particularly for the sheer loss of life during the Biafran War. 3 million people died, and more than half of them were not killed by bullets in battlefield. They were killed by starvation, hardship and difficulty and lack of medicine. It was a very atrocious experience. And after that, the war, the Igbos definitely were marginalizing the government. Let us not lie to ourselves. Nigerian government, that is the other ethnic groups in Nigeria, the Hausa, Yoruba group that formed the government after the Civil War, there was a deliberate effort to exclude the Igbos. The Igbos were not to hold certain offices. They were not to be generals in the army. They were not to hold certain cabinet positions in government. Even to today, I don't think an Igbo man has been Minister of Internal Affairs, which is a very powerful ministry that controls a whole lot. And today, an Igbo has not been a president. All these things, of course, are coming up in the restructuring argument and the zoning of presidency argument, to include the Igbos. If you want the war to end, you have to include the Igbos. That's what is that. But on this question of secession as an inherent right, an absolute right or absolute logic for the Igbos' satisfaction and progress, that is mischaracterized. So it's not true that it is in the best interest of the Igbos to secede. We need to look at other alternatives. And as I thought about it, my mind goes to Nnamdi Azikiwe's reasoning. Zik was right. Zik was extremely brilliant. The Igbos needed Nigeria. We need Nigeria. We need Nigeria. And Nigeria needs Igbos. Don't get it wrong. If there's any alternative to secession, we must consider that alternative. And at this moment, that alternative is restructuring. We can restructure Nigeria. We can continue to work. It's not a thing you can do overnight. But we can continue to hope and work towards having a country that would treat all its citizens equally, regardless of their ethnicity, regardless of their religion. That is what we aspire for. That is attainable. Indeed, it's wrong to think that we as human beings are not capable of having a country that could reflect the ideals of liberty, the ideals of equality, the ideals of justice. No. And I will warn my brothers, giving us Biafra per se will not address these ideals in Biafra. Perception of injustices, perception of exclusion and abuses and deprivation of rights and oppression will persist in Biafra as it would persist in any other group. Absolutely. So, in any event, as you look at the agitation for Biafra led by Nnamdi Kanu, you begin to ask, what shape will the Biafra take? What shape will the Biafra be politically, philosophically, ideologically, economically? What is it going to be? The first thing that will strike you is that in Nnamdi Kanu's definition of Biafra, which he mirrors after 1967 territorial definition, he includes the Niger Delta, the South-South, as part of Biafra. So Nnamdi Kanu's IPOB's Biafra is going to be a country dominated by the Igbos with significant minority population. So we are looking at probably 60-70% of the Igbos and 40-30% of Niger Deltas in Biafra. When I mean Niger Deltas, I mean the non-Igbo speaking part of Niger Delta in Biafra. So normally we would expect by now to have a constitutional draft, a proposed constitution that would govern Biafra. We suppose it is that constitution, it's that draft that gives you an idea of what the country Biafra will look like once declared or once it emerges. We don't have that. So as we speak, we don't know whether the IPOB's Biafra is going to be a republic, or whether it's going to be a monarchy, or whether it's going to be a theocracy, well, whether it's going to be a federation or a unitary government or a system. We don't know that, really, because nobody has given us a roadmap. Nothing has happened beyond the relentless pronouncements of Nnamdi Kanu, his energetic pronouncements and radio broadcasts that whips up sentiments and propaganda. That's all we have. We don't know whether women will have rights in Biafra. Indeed, I have reasons to believe that Biafra will be a very autocratic and abusive of rights if we continue with the mindset of Nnamdi Kanu and IPOB. From the work we do, we already see things, massive abuse of rights that are well entrenched and embedded in the Igbo customs and practice. For instance, women do not have right of inheritance in Igbo land, most of Igbo land. Thus, it took a recent Supreme Court intervention in Nigeria to grant that right. But we know that despite the Supreme Court intervention, it has not become a widespread practice for women to have rights. We still see in Igbo land extraordinary abuse of the bride price system, where you pay money as bride price to marry a woman, and then if the woman decides, or if after a divorce or separation, the man refuses to take back the bride price, using it to pin down the woman and make her his slave forever. We still have in Igbo land Osu practice. Of course, this is a very embarrassing thing. When you tell the Igbos that you have Osu, they all deny it. They say, no, it's horrible. It has been abolished. They'll begin to quote some media reportages of abolition of Osu system. But it still exists in Igbo land. It still exists in Igbo land. So I would have expected that a serious person that wants a progressive modern country for Biafra will by now present a constitutional draft. Well, I don't know how long we've been on this, but, you know, Biafra, discussion of Biafra from IPOB hasn't come up with any such thing. It is still some incredible, far-fetched dream when you talk in terms of reality. And yet, so much is happening. We are having violence, people are dying, people are fighting, people are so emotional and excited, and it's a problem. Today, I got a call from overseas, and somebody asked me, why can't Nnamdi Kanu be arrested where he is? And this is a very important question. Why can't Nnamdi Kanu be arrested? Can he be arrested? Yes, Nnamdi Kanu can be arrested. He can be arrested. He is presently in Germany. He is not in Britain as people think. Nnamdi Kanu is in Germany with his brother based in Germany. So he can be arrested in Europe. There is no country in Europe that will allow a person to stay in their territory and incite violence in another country. What Nnamdi is doing, IPOB man, what he's doing, sitting down in somewhere outside Nigeria and telling his followers to stone this person, kill this person, attack this person, shoot this person, and they're actually getting them to do it. That is a problem. No country will allow it. So if Nigerian government follows appropriate procedure, they can get him arrested in Germany, they can get him arrested in Britain. Now, let me also tell you something. If arrested, they will not extradite him to Nigeria. No serious-minded country will extradite anybody to Nigeria. And why is that? Because nobody trusts Nigerian criminal justice system. It is too corrupt. The judges are not independent. It's too terrible. No country, I can tell you, no country, even Ghana, will not deport a Nigerian to Nigeria for trial because nobody trusts Nigerian legal system. So having said that, if Nnamdi is arrested in Europe, he will not be sent back to Nigeria for trial. They will proceed on the basis that his activities constitute a violation of the laws of those European countries. Incitement of violence across national boundary, getting people to kill people in a foreign country is unacceptable. I know for sure that Germany has a law against it, and they can act on it. I don't know any country in the world where you could stay and then get on radio and tell people in a foreign country to kill people, be instructing the attacks, execution, the violence. It is undoable. So, but why is it that Nigerian authorities have not done what they needed to do? That takes us to another thing. I think that some people in the Nigerian security apparatuses are benefiting from the situation. Of course, their goal may not be to stop Nnamdi Kanu. Their goal may just be contentment, to just contain him. Because they would need these tensions in order to justify the budgetary allocations they seek at the end of the year. Yes, you must understand that at the end of the year, every security agency in Nigeria comes with an expectation of how much money it wants the government to release to it. How much money depends on the perception of risk and problem. If there's peace, you get less money. If there is crisis, tension, and violence, you get more money. So they would want that. They would want something like this, unfortunately. Otherwise, why haven't they done what they needed to do to stop Nnamdi Kanu? That is the question that we must ask, ultimately. Thank you for coming to this session or listening to this video. We will continue this discussion in the future. As you understand, there are many, many issues outstanding. Violence is a big thing in Nigeria. It's engulfing the whole of the country. They have been killing in Oyo State, and today is reported that 33 people were killed in Zamfara State. The violence is not unique to the East. The only thing unique to the East is that the violence in the East is connected somehow with the agitation for a separate country, for secession. That gives the violence in the East a significant political coloration. So we must discuss that in a special context of the agitation for Biafra. Thank you very much.